The Silent Night Enigma. Chapter 1. The Arrival. It had been a year since I left home to study abroad, and the thought of returning for Christmas filled me with a sense of both excitement and anxiety. My 20-year old self had grown into someone who valued stability, but something about this visit felt different, as if an unseen force was pulling at my emotions. The familiar smell of pine needles greeted me as I stepped off the bus and walked towards my family's home. The house stood tall, its exterior adorned with twinkling Christmas lights that cast a warm glow over the snow-covered ground. Yet, despite the festive decorations, I couldn't shake off the feeling of déjà vu that had been haunting me since my arrival. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. My parents greeted me with smiles, but their eyes betrayed an underlying concern. The room was filled with the sound of chatter and laughter, but it felt forced, as if everyone were trying too hard to be normal. I couldn't help but feel like an outsider, watching from a distance as my family went about their daily routines. As I settled into my old bedroom, I noticed small changes that sent shivers down my spine. The desk was cluttered with books and papers I didn't remember leaving behind, and the walls were adorned with photographs of people I didn't recognize. It was as if someone had been living in my room while I was away. But who? And why? That night, as I lay in bed trying to fall asleep, I began to experience strange dreams filled with eerie images and unsettling sounds. In one dream, I found myself standing in the middle of a dark forest, unable to move or find an exit. Another dream had me wandering through my room, feeling the cold breath of someone following closely behind me. Each dream seemed more terrifying than the last, leaving me disoriented and anxious when I finally woke up. The next few days passed in a blur of Christmas festivities, but I couldn't shake off the sense of unease that had settled over me. Every corner of the house felt like it was watching me, every creak of the floorboards making my heart race. I tried to focus on the joy of being home, but the feeling that something sinister was lurking in the shadows refused to leave my mind. Chapter 2. The Unseen Observer. As the days passed and Christmas approached, the tension within the house seemed to grow thicker. My family's attempts to make me feel welcome only served to amplify my anxiety. Every smile felt forced. Every laugh seemed out of place. I couldn't help but wonder if they were trying too hard to hide something from me. One evening, as I was walking through the living room, I overheard a conversation between my parents that sent a chill down my spine. They were discussing someone named Olivia, mentioning how she had died under mysterious circumstances years ago. My heart raced as I tried to listen more closely, but they soon moved on to other topics, leaving me with more questions than answers. That night, I couldn't sleep. The memory of Olivia haunted my thoughts, and the sense that someone or something was watching me grew stronger. I felt like I was being watched, every movement scrutinized by unseen eyes. I began to notice things out of place. A book on the shelf that had been there days ago now lay on the floor, a light flickering in my room, even though no one was using it. My suspicion that someone or something was watching me reached its peak one night when I heard a faint whisper coming from the attic. Curiosity 驱使着我爬上楼梯，但当我到达时，却发现那里空无一人。我感到一阵寒意，仿佛有什么东西在暗中窥视着我。As Christmas Day approached, my fear of uncovering the truth about Olivia grew. The more I tried to ignore it, the more it seemed to follow me like a shadow. I was determined to find answers, But every attempt to dig deeper only led to more questions and a deeper sense of unease. I felt trapped in a nightmare from which there was no escape. Chapter 3. The Revelation. Christmas morning dawned with a sense of foreboding that had been building inside me for days. As I sat at the dinner table with my family, I felt an overwhelming urge to confront them about Olivia. The truth was hiding in plain sight, and I was determined to uncover it before it was too late. During the holiday feast, I finally mustered the courage to ask my parents about Olivia. Their faces turned pale as they avoided my gaze, and it became clear that they were deeply troubled by her death. They hesitated for a moment before sharing a story that would change everything I thought I knew about my family's past. It turns out that Olivia was not just an acquaintance, but a distant cousin of mine. She had been staying with us during the holidays when she died under mysterious circumstances. Her body was found in the attic, where she had apparently been hiding for days before her death. The cause of her death was never determined, and the case was eventually closed by the authorities. As I listened to my parents' story, a chilling realization began to take shape in my mind. The strange dreams, the eerie whispers, and the feeling that someone or something had been watching me all made sense now. Olivia's death had not been an isolated incident, but part of a much darker and more sinister pattern that had been unfolding for years. That night, I returned to my room and began to search through my old belongings, hoping to find any clues that could help me understand what was happening. To my surprise, I discovered a hidden journal belonging to Olivia. In it, she wrote about her experiences living in our house, describing the eerie occurrences and strange events that had plagued her during her stay. As I read the journal, I learned that Olivia had been possessed by an ancient spirit that had been trapped in the house for generations. The spirit was seeking a way to break free from its confinement and claimed victims who got too close to uncovering its presence. I realized that I was now the target of this sinister force, and it would stop at nothing to protect its hidden secrets. With Christmas Day approaching, I knew that I had to find a way to defeat the spirit and put an end to the terror once and for all. I began to research ancient rituals and spells that could help banish the entity from our home. Time was running out, and I had no choice but to confront my family's dark past head on if I wanted to save myself and those I loved. As I prepared for the final confrontation with the spirit, a sense of determination filled me. No matter what happened, I would find a way to defeat the darkness that had been haunting our home for so long and bring peace to Olivia's restless soul. Christmas may have been a time of joy and celebration for others, but for me, it was a fight against an ancient evil that threatened to destroy everything I held dear.